Wanted to get into some of the audio from Ron Rivera's presser from yesterday. First clip has him talking about why he chose not to go to Jacoby Brissett late in the game when things were out of hand, why he kept Sam Howell in the game.
And in terms of Sam, I mean, I think because the way the game was unfolding, it was a question of, well, should he get taken out of the game for whatever the reason, even if it was just to protect him. And obviously there's been some talk on the radio and elsewhere about, should you make a switch? One question we've had all along is, what's the leash for Sam? For you, not suggesting it's this game, but for you, what is that scenario? Is there a point where you...
Well, right now we are 2-1. Right. Sam's won 3 games in 4 starts. So we just continue to go.
I don't know.
Very wordy. Sam, the only way he's going to grow and get better is to play. And that's why we did what we did.
Yeah, I had no problem with it. I pondered it in my mind, like maybe...
I would have taken him out just because he was getting hit so much.
Right.
Maybe to protect
a risk
him.
Injury.
Maybe to, I don't know, just protect further sort of psychological damage. But he seems pretty resilient that way. And then I just thought at the end of the day, you just don't want to put that in his head to be like looking over his shoulder too much. It's hard enough to play in the league as a young player. Especially play that position.
Well, unless you tell him, look, you're getting killed out there.
Right.
We're going to just take you out.
We're just going to protect.
And it's just another layer of something Ron would have to deal with. Like, I'm sure in the back of Ron's brain on the sideline, he was probably thinking, you know what? Maybe Jacoby should go in. But then he has to think, well, then I'm going to have to answer 100 questions going forward about Sam and Jacoby. And by keeping Sam in there, he just eliminates that. Right. He doesn't have to even worry about that.
Yeah. I see that, but you just tell the press, look, he got hit 15 times.
Sure, he has an out for it if he winds up doing it.
I would just tell the press, hey, look at the stats.
Yeah.
He got sacked 9 times. He was getting hit on every play. He got hit hard on a run play. We're down 30-3. The game's over. I mean, what's the point? That's what I would have told the press.
But Ron knows that Sam is resilient, and
he can handle
Ron's very calculated, and he probably he doesn't want to deal with any sort of quarterback controversy.
I think also he was honest that he's a young player, needs the reps.
Right.
I think it's why they kicked the meaningless field goal. I don't think it's because Ron particularly cared about not getting shut out when you get smoked either way. I think they wanted to see Cheeseman execute a snap and execute the kick.
Right.
I think that's why they did that. But I don't know. I didn't have a huge problem with it. You do worry at some point because he's on pace for 120 sacks.
It's like 107. Yeah, but it's still a lot.
Whatever,
like 30
it is.
more than the standing NFL record.
Right, and so it's hard. It would be hard to even imagine enduring all those blows. You do wonder at what point does a kid get damaged from it?
Right.
Get gun shy, get whatever.
Gun shy and physically damaged. It's just going to take a toll on your body.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just hope they're better this week. It's a really, really tall task.
And here's the other thing. I mean, and Hal talked about it. He said, look, I ran a lot in college. I got hit. But these are men. This is the real deal.
Yeah.
I loved his run, but it was probably stupid. But I loved
this isn't
he's got to learn to get down.
It's not dudes from Wake Forest hitting you.
Right.
Okay?
I mean, these
are the best of the best.
These are bigger, stronger dudes, faster dudes. And also, you're playing more games than you did in college. I mean, you're not playing 12, 13 games. You're playing 17 if he lasts that long.
But I don't think, if anybody, I would love to know where Ben heard somebody on the radio suggesting that he should potentially be pulled.
You mean for Brissett?
Yeah, if anybody really thinks that.
I think he was just talking like a macro picture, bigger picture. I don't think he just meant that he's going to get pulled this week.
Yeah, I don't think that it should be in discussion anytime soon. Now they lose this week, which is probably inevitable, and then they lose a couple coming up, which are a little easier. Then we can have that conversation. But I don't think that should be anywhere near.
I don't think Jacoby Brissett playing is in play yet.
And I kind of go back to Gruden's thought that, and this is to your point, Jason, about how short is the leash. You're fifth rounder, you don't have a long leash. But the counter to that is, if he does fail and you kind of deem it a failure, however your standards are, and you move on, well, then you just, there's no hope because you're just putting a journeyman in. Well,
Well,
so the longer you stay with him, you can kind of justify, hey, we're working with a young quarterback. We're working with a young quarterback. We think he's going to be good. Hang in there. You know what I mean? As soon as you bail on him, you've admitted you failed.
Yeah, if you see Jacoby Brissett for any
so that
extended,
could buy him some time.
for any extended period of
could
time.
buy Sam some time.
Yeah, his leash could be longer this year.
Right.
As
Because of
opposed to
that.
his career. His career leash could be shorter, but this year the leash could be longer.
Right.
Could be
If
longer.
that makes any sense.
Which gives them opportunity, though, to figure it out. Because I think the one thing I do feel terrible about is particularly at that position, young players, unless they're first, high draft picks, they get 6, 8, 10 starts.
Right.
Typically.
The clock is running on him right now. Like he realizes.
So you got to
it.
do
He's
very
not dumb.
well to keep earning more starts.
Right.
And,
yeah, I mean, he can't keep playing that way. And
I mean, you don't
expect to
bench anybody that plays, has 4 interceptions every week. But it might give him more time. I hope it does, because I do think he could do the job. But you have more clips?
Yeah, the second clip is Ron talking about how absorbed all the sacks and the time it took him to release the ball.
A number of Buffalo defenders specifically mentioned like the 2.5 second mark, anything longer than that. Wondering for you guys and how you kind of teach Sam, is that, do you kind of have a number in mind of when you would like him to release the ball, or does it go that far, play to play? Like how do you?
Well, you'd like him to release the ball before he gets hit. I mean, I'm being serious. I mean, whether that's in your mindset saying, okay, there is a 2.5 second clock, which we all know and understand and believe in. But at the same time, because of his agilities and abilities, sometimes he can extend the play, in which we've seen, and we've seen him do it successfully. But we've also seen it where that little hesitation, it's cost him a little bit. So again, we want him to continue to go with the clock in his head, but at the same time, we don't want him to miss opportunities if they're there. And then again, up front, we'd like to hold our blocks a little bit longer if we can.
Huh. I guess is that a known thing? I know that John Keim's big on timing the quarterbacks, and how long it takes them to get rid of the ball. So I guess the standard is 2.5 seconds. You got to release it, barring play breaking down and you can scoot a little bit. That makes sense. That's the number, 2.5.
I mean,
I guess that's like the magic
number.
That's the general threshold. It's pretty darn quick, man.
It is. That's
Ron said
not a lot of time.
Ron said that Sam's problem, at least for the last game, is that he was seeing too much of the field.
Okay.
That was a new one to me.
He was processing too much.
Yeah, he's just saying he's just seeing all of these different players,
all his choices,
all of the choices, and he's kind of overwhelmed. I guess paralysis by analysis.
I mean,
it kind of makes sense, but it's the first time I've ever heard that.
I've never heard that. I would buy it though.
He says he needs to lock on something. If it's not there, and then your second option is not there, just get rid of it or take off.
Take off, yeah, run.
I can't even fathom how quickly these guys have to make these decisions. I mean, it is literally ridiculous. Think about it. 2.5 seconds. You snap. You're worried about your footwork and everything. I guess you got to get to a point where you don't worry about it. But then you got to know within like a second. You got to know within like a second, okay, he looks like he's got him beat. Oh, he doesn't go to the next. Like, the processing it takes to play that position is unreal.
Right.
I just don't know how they do it.
That's why the practice reps, all those practice reps in the off season and training camp is so important.
And the one thing that and
you're
again,
just getting used to the speed of it.
I just can't. I mean, unless you showed me the all 22 and you let me watch it 10 times, it would be hard for me to figure it out. But everyone keeps saying that when he's getting in trouble, they often are seeing open checkdowns that he's hesitating with. That would seem to me to be coachable.
That first pick he threw to
one, they all running together.
White. I don't know who the DB was, but yeah, Turner was wide open on the right. Gibson was wide open on the left. Is that the one
where he
underneath,
where he underthrew the linebacker and the linebacker jumped up, or no?
It was the first. No, it was the first.
I don't remember the first. I don't remember the order.
No, it was the first pick that was. I don't know. It was a 20-yard pass, and the DB on the right side, the DB picked it off. There were two guys wide open underneath.
Mm-hmm. Is that the one where he was blitzed and he threw it to the inside? He threw it.
The one right down the middle of the field where the linebacker jumped up.
That's the one I said. Yeah.
Maybe it was. Maybe it was another one. I have to go back and look. But just analyzing the film and the replay, there were guys wide open.
We just have to hope that when he sees the film, and this is just one clip, but I'm sure you guys saw the Nicky Jhabvala tweet where
I'm not sure that I did.
where he's on the goal line. Well, he's on the 10 basically, and Dotson sits down on the goal line and he's wide open. There's nobody within 15 feet of him, and he throws it. He doesn't see it. He throws it into basically triple coverage in the back of the end zone. Like, that's something that's going to get drilled into his head, I would think, by Eric Bieniemy and the staff. Like, this was wide open. You missed it. You can't miss this going forward.
Right, but maybe that's his third or fourth read, and he just didn't get to it.
Right. And he had some
how
pressure,
the hell?
had a guy in his face.
It's the hardest position in the world. It's the hardest job in the world. You'd be easier for you to learn, like, brain surgery or dentistry or building a rocket.
Yeah.
That's why
what is asked of
That's
these
why
guys.
you need 40 to 50 starts.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
You do.
Be
Sam
properly
Howell,
evaluated.
I'm not saying Sam Howell
He's
needs
not gonna
40.
get
He's not
40
going to get
starts.
But that's why rookie quarterbacks, first-round quarterbacks, second-round quarterbacks get 40 to 50, if not more.
And look, he might, maybe he defies the odds and has, like a 12-year career and has 100-plus starts. But I would guess the odds are he's not going to get to 40 or 50 NFL starts in his career.
I hope he does.
I hope he does, too.
I hope
Seems
he
like a
does.
good kid, nice guy.
You just have to show success early on. And we just have to prepare ourselves. This week's probably going to be a mess. Hopefully it's a lot better. And then you got to take advantage the next couple weeks.
Yeah. All right, let's go
You
to the
just have
third
to.
clip. This is Ron. He has a little bit of salty language talking about losing.
This is our third game of the season. We're 2-1 right now, and we have an opportunity to make some corrections from this game. Everybody hates to. I hate to lose. I hate losing. Excuse me. Sorry, but I do. And the truth of the matter is, the only good thing out of losing is that you can learn from it. And that's what we intend to do, to learn what our mistakes were, learn what the things that we didn't do right, get those things corrected, and move forward. That's what we're going to do. I mean, we're not going to, stay indoors because the sky is falling. We're going to show up, we're going to work hard, and we're going to get it corrected. This is a good football team, good young football team that needs to learn and understand. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to get your butt kicked. How you respond, that tells everybody whether you're worth a crap or not.
Mm-hmm.
I would personally stay inside in my basement if the sky were falling outside. Ron would walk
you and
outside.
I
He's a
are-
manly man.
We're soft.
Yeah, I couldn't handle it.
You're right. It was the pick I was talking about was the first when Bernard picked it off over the middle. You're
Over
right.
the middle. The only thing I'll say is, and it gives me solace, but every season takes on its own dynamic. But last year when they started 1-4 and we were pretty down in the dumps, and sure, Carson was a big part of that, they did rip off 6 of 7, including the win over Philly, which I do think was a rare circumstance, but nevertheless, they did beat them. They did beat Green Bay, I believe, in that run. So you just never know. You got to remind yourself you do never know. I'm not predicting they're going to win 6 of 7 at any point, but when they were 1-4, everyone in here would have bet their 401k they weren't going to win 6 of 7,
Absolutely.
including beating Philly, beating Green Bay. Nobody would have bet that. So you just got to let it play out. It's hard. We always want to just jump to the conclusion and start drafting guys.
Look, Philly's...
Well, no, but here's the key. If you start 1-4,
Yeah.
you know you're not making the playoffs.
in all likelihood. But remember, we were in it down to the
I know.
2 weeks to go.
I know. They win that Cleveland game, they get in. But still, I mean, you can't recreate history. They didn't make the playoffs. You start 1-4, the chances you making the playoffs are pretty much
And Philly's
zero.
good, but they're not unbeatable. I mean, they were in a 6-point game with the Vikings. They had a squeaker in week 1 against the Patriots.
They haven't been hitting on all cylinders. You just know how
so
talented they are, though, at every
if
level.
you catch them on the right day and, Sam plays much better than he did against the Bills, you got a shot at pulling an upset.
I'm almost willing to bet. I don't know. I would bet
But
a
if they're
lot
playing
he's
like-
going to play better.
Yeah.
They're playing C-plus ball right now or B-minus ball, and they're
Right.
still 3-0.
Sure.
They were much better last night than they were in the first couple weeks, no
Right.
doubt.
But it took them a while. I think they weren't great early. They weren't great. They were just
Yeah, I
okay.
mean, it was 3-0 there for a while, and then 3-3, then 10-3, then they started to roll.
Yeah.
But defensively, they were great.